Well, hey there, welcome to my house of cards. My name is Hoodlie, and today we're gonna go over my current build for Gem Knight Beatdown. I know a lot of people are like, oh, the Black Dragon is banned, you can't really play this anymore. And I mean, sure, the burn FTK is harder to pull off, but you know what? I didn't really like playing Gem Knights like that very much in the first place. I prefer playing them as the fusion deck, where you just summon your big dudes and punch really, really hard. And that's basically the deck. I don't know. There's just something satisfying about playing such a simple deck where the whole thing is just fuse, keep fusing, making gigantic monsters punch really hard, just go home, do something like that. I don't know. I find it really fun. And you could totally adapt this into one of those burn FTK loop things, but again, I'm not really a big fan of that. And is this a better alternative? Probably not, no. But it is interesting, at least I think so. So let's just go over it real quickly. Again, we're gonna start with the normal monsters because you need them for these guys. We got Garnet, the town bicycle. We got Tourmaline, the less used town bicycle from the good old glory days of when Brilliant Fusion was legal. And then we got Lapis. Again, I'm not using Lapis Lazuli in the extra deck. You totally could if you want, but she and Lazuli are just really good resources to get. I didn't really want to play Sapphire. I honestly can't remember what her name is because Sapphire is just terrible. It's not a very good thing. It doesn't give you access to a lot of good decks. So if it was between Sapphire and Lapis, I'm gonna pick the one that gets me Zirconia. So that's pretty much it. They're just normal monsters. You need them for the fusions, either by type or by name. So that's really just why I picked them. You can mess around with whatever you want, because there are a lot of Gem Knight fusions. Starting the effect monsters off is Gem Armadillo. Why is it an armadillo? I don't know. Why are things in the first place? I have no idea. When it's normal summon, you add a Gem Knight from your deck to your hand. It's really simple searching. I don't really have much to say about it. It's just a normal summon, so that's just cool. Is it the best normal summon you can have in the deck? Probably not, but I think it's at least kind of interesting. Then we have Obsidian. If it's sent from hand to the graveyard, you can target one level 4 or lower normal monster in your grave and special summon it. Such as, I don't know, if you use it for a fusion summon, you could get back like Garnet or Tourmaline or something, and then you can have the more resources. That's pretty much the same thing with Lazuli. It just gives you a normal monster back to your hand. So you just keep using these guys, you can just keep adding Tourmaline and Garnet back, making sure that you pretty much always have decent resources to make your fusions with. Then you got Crystal Rose. It's a level 2 light, and once per turn you can send a Gem Knight or Melodious monster from your hand or deck to the grave, and then this card's name becomes the sent monster's name until the end of the turn. And if it's in your grave, you can banish a fusion from your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. So it's just a nice way to get whatever resource you need, because again, they specifically require certain monsters. So that's cool. Plus it's light, which means you can make a Seraphonite with it, and that's always nice. Next up we have Rescue Rabbit, who's pretty much just a very fast way to get to our Link monster. Tribute it, or banish it, summon 2 Tourmaline, 2 Lapis, 2 Garnet, whichever you want. You really do need to play multiples of these because, again, you need them for fusions, but also Rescue Rabbit gets you your Link, so that's nice. And the only hand trap I'm running is Psyframe Gamma. You can swap out whatever you want. I mostly just picked Gamma because it is a pretty powerful card. If you use it on your turn, you can get access to like Omega or the Link or a Cross Sheep if you want. And also they're light, meaning they can also be used for Seraphonite. They don't have much use beyond that aside from being powerful traps, but hand traps, but whatever. That's all they need to be. So yeah. You can swap them out with whatever you want. I'm just playing them because I think they're useful. They have multiple uses for this deck. I don't know. They're good. Whatever. Next up, we have the spells, starting with 3 copies of Gem Knight Fusion, their archetypal fusion spell. One of many, because basically every back row support they have is a fusion spell, because they just really had to let you know it's a fusion deck. It likes to fusion summon. And this is a pretty solid fusion spell. It lets you summon a Gem Knight fusion monster, obviously, but if it's in your grave, you can just banish a Gem Knight from your grave and add it back to hand, meaning you don't have to, meaning if you search it out like that one single time with Phantom Quartz, then congratulations, you just basically have like infinite fusion, maybe not infinite, but like near infinite, no. You could just keep fusion summoning, as long as you can keep, also, these guys aren't once per turn, that's kind of ridiculous. Like if you have multiples of these, congrats, you can just keep getting your resources back, so that's really cool. Just nice simple recursion on a spell card that's the core of the deck, really. We also have 2 copies of Absorb Fusion, which is a Rhoda that also works as a fusion spell because they just really have their search spell. Their search spell is a fusion spell. They really went overboard with this. But yeah, it just lets you add a Gem Knight from deck to hand, and then it's optional to banish materials from hand or field to summon a Gem Knight. Like, it's weird. I don't know why. Also, if you use it, you can only summon Gem Knights for the rest of the turn, which isn't really a big deal. I understand why people don't tend to play this, at least in the builds I've seen. But since the deck is pretty much just made around summoning different Gem Knights, like, I really don't think that's a big deal. I also have 2 copies of Pot of Desires because we really need to see specific monsters in the deck. Hopefully this won't screw me over. Then again, I have had one situation testing where it banned literally every copy of Gem Knight Fusion. I hate this card a lot, but I mean, in all honesty, I don't know what else I could play for a generic draw support card, because, like, couldn't play Avarice. I mean, I could, but, like, whatever. I hate this card. I begrudgingly use it, but whatever. We also got 1 Called by the Grave, because we don't want to get hit by Droll or Ash or anything like that. Harpy's Feather Duster to clear out back row. Imperm, because we go second. And then this funny little card called Warning Point. If your opponent summons a monster, that monster can't attack, its effects are negated, and it can't be used for Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or a Link Summon. So the only thing that this wouldn't be useful against is, rituals? I guess. But then, Drytron. Alright, so it's not super useful in the meta right now, maybe against Drytron, but it's still a pretty funny card, and I like just using normal traps in modern builds of decks. I just think that's fun for some reason. And that's pretty much it for the main deck. You can swap around whatever normal monsters you need, whatever ratios you need, depending on what fusions you want to run. Because this deck is all about fusion summoning. A lot. The Rhoda is a fusion spell. They have like 3 fusion traps. Or maybe it was 2, I can't remember. But anyway, on to this, starting with the Link monsters. Starting with this guy, who's like the actually best example of really, really solid deck archetype support that isn't completely generic and abusable, because it is only usable by Gem Knights. I'm looking at you, Halky Falky, Plant Snake. You're not archetype support. You're like mechanic support. They're ridiculous, but this guy's pretty cool. Phantom Quartz requires any 2 gem monsters, which means, again, Rescue Rabbit, summon any of these 2, or 2 of any of these, and then you get this guy. And then you can add a Gem Knight card from your deck to your hand. That's it. That's what he does. Oh, and also, you can pay 1,000 life points, fusion summon a Gem Knight fusion monster from your extra deck by shuffling fusion materials in your possession, listed on it, into the deck, that are banished or in the grave, but it can't attack directly this turn. That's really cool. I really like that for some reason. It's parallel world fusion. That's really nice. And again, most of the time you'll be banishing stuff to get back Gem Knight fusion, so you could just use this thing's effect to summon out like Brilliant Diamond or Master Diamond. You could get Zirconia for an extra bunch of damage. Just depending on what you have, you can get whatever fusion you need, because you're gonna keep banishing stuff for Gem Knight fusion to make everything else. It's really cool. Cross Sheep just lets you summon a thing from the grave. That's all it does, really. And this Lambda, really, she's just here in case we play the Gamma on our turn, and we actually managed to synchro summon Omega or something, so we can keep using them. That's pretty much the only reason she's here. But still, that's pretty cool. Omega, just in case we use these guys on our turn. And then on to the Gem Knight fusions. Everyone knows about Seraphonite. Requires Gem Knight and any light monster, which they didn't have until Crystal Rose, so you use stuff like Trick Clown. and Brilliant Fusion. And then Brilliant Fusion got banned. Oh well, stinks to be everyone else because Gem Knights can still use this. Granted, there aren't a lot of effects that you want to use a bunch of normal summons on, except, I don't know, maybe an extra armadillo, or another crystal rose, or a rescue rabbit. Just, there are a lot of things you want to use this for. It's an additional normal summon. That's great. That's all it does, really. It's just an extra normal summon, so that's pretty awesome. Then we have, most of these are just like fun things you can make and then copy with Diamond, so that's cool. Starting with Topaz, it requires Tourmaline and a Gem Knight. It must be fusion summoned, it can attack twice, and when it destroys a monster by battle and send it to the grave, you do the Flame Wingman thing. It has 1800 attack, but that doesn't matter, because you're probably just gonna copy its effect with Master Diamond. So that's nice. Ruby lets you tribute a Gem Knight in order to have it gain that monster's attack for the turn, so just make it super huge and punch over something. It can also inflict piercing damage, which isn't incredibly useful, but it could help out sometimes. Then we have Citrine, who's just an Armades. It requires a Gem Knight and a Pyro, which is Garnet. I don't know what else you're using, unless you're using Ruby to summon this. It's weird. Then we have Prismora. We have 2 of this because it's just a really solid piece of spot removal. Once per turn, soft once per turn, discard a Gem Knight card to target a face-up card on the field and destroy it. Very simple, and again, if you just discard Fusion, you can immediately get it back, so no cost at all. That's pretty cool. Also, we have 2 copies of Gem Knight Zirconia, aka the backup plan, because it just requires a Gem Knight and any rock, which is, you know, that's really easy to summon in this deck. It has no effect, but it has 2900 attack. That's all I'm playing it for. It's just huge. Like, look how huge this number is. It's 2900 attack. You know what else is 2900 attack? Master Diamond. This guy's cool. It takes any 3 Gem Knight monsters, and it gains 100 attack for each Gem monster in the grave. But who cares about that? Once per turn, you can banish a level 7 or lower Gem Knight Fusion from your grave, which is pretty much all of them, except for Zirconia, but he has no effect, so whatever. In order to have this become that monster for the turn, gains its effect, it makes its name, which means, you know, make it have over 3000 attack, copy the effect of Topaz, punch twice while dealing burn damage. That's pretty great. Make it an Armades if you want. Make it, you know, tribute something huge just to be funny. That's really the point of this deck. Just make something huge and punch really hard. That's the whole point of it. And I think that's fun. And also we have Lady Brilliant Diamond. She is indeed brilliant. Shine on, you brilliant Lady Diamond, you. She's also made of 3 Gem Knight monsters, and once per turn, you can only summon her once per turn. That's worth noting. Also, once per turn, you can send a face-up Gem Knight monster you control to the grave. Special summon a Gem Knight Fusion monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. That's just stupid. And also, she has 500 more base attack than Master Diamond. She can get you any fusion you want. So like, oh, I don't know, you sent Obsidian as part of her fusion material, so you summon, I don't know, Tourmaline. You can turn it into Master Diamond. I don't know why you would, but you can do that, and it's actually really funny. And you pretty much just use these in whatever order you want to deal a whole bunch of damage, and that's pretty much it. You just keep hitting things until something dies. And I just find something very, very fun about this. Now, the side deck, you can pretty much make whatever you want. I just have Gamma Seal in here because I didn't bother making one. Just load it up with whatever going second cards you might need, because that's really all this is. Just go second, hit hard, go home. That's the story. Just drop mic and go home. Like, oh, you just got beaten by Gem Knights and it wasn't even a burn loop. What up? What was that? That was terrible. I don't know what that was. But anyway, that's the deck. Is it amazing? No. It's fun. I certainly think so. And if you like it, or you have some suggestions you would like to let me know, like swap this and that, and those for these, and these and that, and these for those, let me know in the comments. If you want to see this deck in action, let me know. I'll do some duels this week or something. But for now, thank you very much for coming to hang out with me at my House of Cards. I hope you have a nice day. And yeah, that's it. Bye.